Okay, so happy Monday. So this morning I was up hella early because my dog was just energetic. I actually had to break her loop because her loop was going in circles and circles and circles. And okay, and that's fine. And so I was up, and I know she's releasing stuff, so whatever. No seizures or anything. She hasn't peed in the bed at all. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But her poop and pee schedule is a little off schedule, so all right, whatever. But anyway, so I have been interested in Charles Manson, and then you've seen my interest in all the different serial killers. What makes somebody do such horrific things? And yeah, it is, you're born from trauma, you're innovated from trauma, and then and you've seen some pretty traumatic images because of war and pretty horrible people out there, and you can't purge it out, and so that trauma then turns into a vendetta, turns into something that even people don't understand. I mean, when you read about Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and how he was shown images of his cousin who was in the war torturing and raping Vietnamese women, and then of course he was raised in violence and all of that, and who knows what other predispositions he has. Yeah, it turned into the Night Stalker, where he was killing people, raping them, doing all these horrible things, and you're just like, holy shit. You see, I was thinking one day, like, if I could just take jelly juice and food to the prison system and teach them all how to go and purge and do everything with the JJ world, then we would see some reformed prisoners who would then feel the freedom of the beast, because their beast was allowed to get so bad and so huge that even society couldn't handle both themselves and their beast. Their beast took over. And so you feel bad for some of the prisoners in these prison systems who tame their beast, and they're a different person because the beast reared its ugly head at one point and now it's under wraps. But the prison system and society is afraid that beast will reemerge again, and that's why there's a parole board, and that's why they have to see through some of the charisma, because yes, the beast can be very charismatic in charming someone into thinking that they're a changed person when they're not. And wow. And that's why I say you have to understand the beast within you. And that beast has been fostered by politics, religion, and science. You have to know this, guys. If you don't know this and you think that, okay, your religion is the only thing, you think your politics is the only thing, your science is the only thing, I don't know how to help you. I mean, I'm not trying to help you, but I don't know what kind of chance you're going to have. Because inevitably that beast, whatever it is, that's been fostered by your politics, your religion, your science, your associations, your family, that's going to take over. That's going to trump everything. And so I was watching Helter Skelter this morning, and I watched it before a few times, and yeah, it's he's a genius. Why is he a genius? I mean, we hear that he was in and out of reformatory schools. He was hit. He was abused like crazy. He was born from a prostitute. So he was born from trauma in Cincinnati, Ohio, no less. I mean, I'm in Ohio. Holy shit. And so then he makes his way to California. In California, where that all the LSD, the drugs, and then him being in and out of the prison system, he learned the prison system, but he also learned from the inmates. He learned from the streets. He got his street smarts and his intellect and his genius from the people that he was dealing with in the prison system, on the streets, even with the government, when them doing all this shit, trying to figure out his stuff. And then he has all the followers. Now he has a thing called the family, right? That's the whole Manson family. And then you see how family is being used. You see so much stuff come out of the 1960s where people say, okay, the family is so great, right? The breaking up of the family. And everyone's all about family, family, family. And then you look at the Manson family and you see where it kind of was derived from. You really think your family is so great when you're all reinforcing the love program of death and destruction onto your kids, onto your grandma, onto yourself, onto your husband, your wife? You really think the family is so great after you see kind of how the family has been modeled, where the self-destruct programming is embedded into your politics, into your religion, I don't care what it is, and into your science. I've been releasing. Whew. And so when people put the School of Hard Knocks on their Facebook page instead of some university, okay, the streets are going to make you or break you. I don't care. And the streets have made people and they've become amazing and then they die, right? Because the beast took over. Or it broke them and they turn criminal. And then there's no coming back because then you're institutionalized. When you're so used to being in and out of these institutions, yeah, you know only institution and crime. So college can make or break somebody, can make somebody or break somebody if you volunteer for all the experiments. And Ted Kaczynski did not realize that he was volunteering for an experiment. He was under an experiment, like I said before, where he was probably discussing his dissertation, his thesis, whatever, and the people that he was meeting with were probably running an experiment to see if they kept countering him and kept calling him crazy, questioning his intellect, would he be strong enough to defend it? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But somehow, I don't know the outcome of those experiments or what they were looking for, what even Ted Kaczynski got out of it at that point in time. But later on, he had a vendetta against the educational system. And you've seen me get so pissy at the educational system and all the degreed people who think they're fucking God. Because yes, you know, education and degrees and all that shit was shoved down my throat and used as a fucking tool to make me feel like I was nothing. That is intellectual abuse. And they did that to Ted Kaczynski, but on a grander scale, look what the mainstream media is doing. IFL Science, CNN, Fox, oh, you don't have a degree? Well, your fucking opinion is nothing. You're stupid. You're this, you're that. And so a lot of these experiments in college is being used as a psychological operation to keep people under a certain spell. And you see it out there. People say, oh, are you a doctor? Are you a doctor? No different than the college staff doing an experiment on Ted Kaczynski, completely breaking him down intellectually. To where then he hides in the fucking woods and sends bombs out to all the different professors, whether it's UCSF or other places. So even college can breed psychopaths. No different than also the School of Hard Knocks. And that's an interesting juxtaposition when you think about it. That's unmasking the beast. That's watching how the beast gets developed. It gets developed by the college system. The college system, okay, then puts out a way to raise your child. And they do all the experiments in the psychology world, psychotherapy world. And they write books about it and things and peer-reviewed shit. And so then all the new students are coming in going like, oh, this is the latest and greatest way to raise your fucking kid. And they're doing so many experiments on their kids, whether it's biologically, giving them certain things to enhance their brain as well as their body, and then also using some pretty draconian methods to get innovation into them. So as long as they can survive it, they don't die from it. Some kids break under that pressure and they turn to drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever. And you see that in our society. People with addictions, people who are overly sexual, people who are overly whatever, have been broken by their society because society was told this is how you raise your child. This is the programming. And so when you think about the difference between someone who may have had some innovation or kinetic energy or borderline abuse done to them, and then they're shown violent images later, and it could be video games. Now we're seeing the making of serial killers. Now, am I saying it's just strictly the video games? No, there's a lot of factors that go along with developing serial killers. Abuse, as far as physical abuse, the drugs, the antidepressants that fuck with the brain. And so when a kid has like some kind of on the spectrum, and they're really smart too, and they've been shown violent images, now you have a new Charles Manson in the making. You see how this shit works? And that's what I'm saying. You can't stop. The train has already left the station. Now all the frequencies and the viruses are bringing up everyone's monsters. And we're going to see some pretty crazy shit. And we're going to also see indicators of some of these children that are developing into a potential tinderbox of, yeah, a serial killer. So college can make or break somebody if you volunteer for all the experiments. That's why I say those that do the college experiments for free to help science don't know what they're in for. If they're putting things in their body, they have no idea what will do to them and their children. Oh, I can imagine with all people that volunteer and get paid for the college experiments where they're getting stuff put in them, whatever it is, and then their kids turn out a certain way. You wonder, could that kid been a different way if it wasn't for all the experiments they went through in college? You'll never know. I think the only difference with me, because my mom, I know I was getting experimented on. Just so you know, I know I was getting experimented upon. I'll just put it out there. My sister and I were both subjects of some kind of experimentation. And so the difference between me and then my focus on intellect and all that and Charles Manson is the fact that he had violent images shown to him. I've seen some stuff, but my mother did protect us from violent images on TV when the 80s was so full of horror movies, slasher movies, just so much stuff. I did see one movie that really scared me, which was The Omen, when I went to a birthday party. Heather French's birthday party. And she showed The Omen. And that was the only movie I've seen when I was a kid to that extent. And then what really scared me, I guess, was a Disney movie when I was younger. And that was Pinocchio, when the whale was really angry. And I was scared shitless. And so I was scared for a lot of things when I was a kid. And so my mother knew how fragile I was for whatever reason. And said that no violent movies. So I didn't see half of the, I've been watching all the 80s movies the last like 10 years of all the violent stuff. I haven't seen even half of the shit that went out in the 80s. We were Sesame Street, Electric Company, the sitcoms like Alf and Perfect Strangers and Who's the Boss and all, and MASH, and some of the movies, but violence, no, that was not allowed. So the difference between a genius and a serial killer. Now I'm saying you all can be geniuses, but instead of going through someone hurting you and using kinetic energy on you, you got to go through the pain of your viruses, your predisposed issues. That's the path to innovation. Now, will it give you all the physical gifts? Okay, I'm going on a tangent for a minute. Will it give you the physical gifts? No, you're going to have to go and do all the physical training and the pain and all the kinetic energy that way. But when it comes to intellect, which nowadays that's going to be more revered, because if you're out there with so many people and you have predisposed issues and other stuff, you don't know who you're dealing with. Not only some crazy ass virus or monkeypox, but also somebody stupid that is at the surface who just discovered all their demons and they're out there on a rampage. And you don't want to be out there. So now it's time to build the intellect. Okay? Now it's time to build the intellect. Yeah, the difference between a genius and a serial killer who might be a genius is the violent images and that's right. And the finding of kinetic energy to innovate you and connect. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I was going to say this. And so to go back to what I was saying, the fine line of kinetic energy to innovate you. Yeah. So if you want to get intelligence with your brain, you have to go through the pain of your predisposed issues, of every single virus that medical holistic system used to stop the energy. And it will be painful. But I'd rather you deal with the pain on your own and know you can handle it and survive it and not fear death than somebody put their hands on you to innovate you, because that's not allowed anymore. Okay, what people did in their homes back in the 80s was under wraps. And it turned people into narcissists. They turned people into powerful, godlike doctors and advanced degree professionals who wielded their power because they knew how to use their power and made them to be some pretty awful people who are, well, you've known those types that wouldn't look at you twice Sorry if you didn't have a degree. I've met several psychological, whether it's psychiatry, psychology, psychotherapy. When you get into the psych field, okay, and you're learning how humans operate, you turn into an asshole. I've met some highly degreed assholes, not just people that I'm related to, right? I've met other ones. I've worked for them. Not them directly, but they were relatives of people. And the person I work with, he wrote some books about whatever he was working on. I forget what books. And when he came around for a reason because of something going on, I don't want to say too much because, anyways, he was an asshole. He was an asshole to me. Total asshole. Okay? That's all I'm going to say at this point. Not that the people are watching me, but I mean, I'm just going to leave it at that for at this point because I got to be very careful because everything I'm talking about is things that I've experienced. Like everything I'm talking about, I have known people, been dealing with people. Some you might guess where I'm coming from. Others you're like, okay. But I'll just tell you this. I am the source of all this information. Everything that I say can be traced to someone or something. All right? And so, no, it's not going to be in a peer-reviewed documented at this time and day. No. You know, every book, every fairy tale, everything is based upon some form of reality that happened. It could have been exaggerated, but I have no reason to exaggerate when you think about it. There's no reason to exaggerate. I have enough documentation to show you my journey that you've seen what dealing with the pain will do for you without somebody putting their hands on you. And so you know there's access to a major amount of innovation if you also feed your brain and deal with the pain. But that's intellectual capacity. All right? But we know that if you go through all the pain of breaking your body into a certain athlete, that when your body starts wanting to become whole again, and then the aging process sets in because you are doing certain things to starve yourself or abuse yourself, it'll be painful to become whole again. Because how long can you be athletic for before you destroy your body outright? See, that's what athletes don't realize. They have a lifespan, literally. The intellects don't have to have a lifespan. Because we're not using our body as a tool for someone to exploit. Okay, so this is where the future is right here. Jesus. So how do you instill stress in a child and without destroying them, but they end up making them stronger if they survive it? Well, that's the thing. I don't know. MK Ultra is intellectual and physical kinetic energy, borderline abuse, if not all out abuse. Oh, my dog, I gotta take her outside. I will take her outside. Well, that's the thing, is that your child's going to have to deal with, well, I know how. I have the answer. They have to deal with their own predisposed issues. Whatever predisposed issues, diseases they hold within, you can't cover it up with a cure. All right, I got it. Hold on. You can't cover it up with a cure. That's how you're going to innovate your child. And people are going to think that's crazy. They're going to think it's abuse. You're not taking them to the doctor. Well, you know what's abuse is when they end up dying from cancer because of your practices today. That's what abuse is. But people don't look at it that way. They look at suffering as abuse. No, suffering is a path to some relative freedom, but it has to be managed correctly so it's not torturing the person so much. But they have to understand why it's going on. People don't understand suffering, and so they try to stop it, and then they end up prematurely destroying themselves. Come on, sugar, let's go downstairs. Come on, downstairs. And so dealing with the pain of predisposed issues is how you instill innovation in a child without breaking them. Because they're going to get fed. They're going to get the respect. They're going to get the time to deal with their shit. So they have a chance to compete on a level playing field. No, sugar. You have to go down. No, you have to go down. No, sugar. My dog is a little bit feisty right now. Okay? And these kids have been pigeonholed by their parents, by the system, by all the love and the destruction. And that's why Manson said that love is, or death is the ultimate love. Because, yeah, people love their kids to death. They love their animals to death. They love everything to death. And so Manson would know, with the amount of experience he's had talking to different prisoners with a lot of intellect, and then him holding court with family, he developed a family that destroyed people. He would know death is the ultimate love, the ultimate representation of love, or whatever that is. Sugar, go downstairs. Come on, let's go. You gotta go pee. Go, come on. This is not time to play fucking games here. Come on, sugar. Come on, outside. Let's go. Come on, sugar. Nope, you can't go over there. Come on. We gotta go. No, I'm just taking you with me. Come on, let's go. Go outside. Go pee. You know what to do. See? Beautiful outside. All right. She'll come in. All right. So intellectual or spiritual abuse refers to such behaviors as punishing someone for having different intellectual interests or religious beliefs from others in the family, preventing them from attending worship, services, ridiculing their opinions, and the like. So you imagine when you're trying to bring about the JJ world and somebody is telling you you're stupid, you're going through intellectual and spiritual abuse. And so, do I consider Dr. Phil my family? No. But whenever he airs that show, it causes more stress in people. They contact me. It then moves hormones in me to go and be better and do better and whatever. Is that his intention? No, I don't know. Maybe he gets money from it. Yeah, of course he does. But, Sugar, are you coming in or out? Sugar. Come on. You know you can push the door open. You don't have to just sit there and wait for me to open. All right. Let me just make sure she peed out there. Sure she did. Oh, there she did. Okay. All right. Good girl. Yeah, she was really active last night. I'm surprised she's up because she only barely got enough hours of sleep. Oh, my Lord. Okay. So it's just been crazy. Non-stop with her. Okay. So intellectual or spiritual abuse. Okay, so yeah, so when Kaczynski was going through all that spiritual abuse, intellectual abuse, even though it wasn't his family, he probably considered the institution like Harvard. I don't even know if it's the University of Michigan that did that experiment on him. I think it was probably Harvard because Harvard's really high level. And so I'm sure he thought Harvard was his family. And so when he was thinking he was going into something that was going to help him, it actually was really just, hurting him. And so it's like, you got to realize that no matter whatever you believe in, if you want to believe in whatever you want to believe in, that's fine. But you also have to know that that also is a programmed type of situation. Could I tell someone they can't worship someone from 6,000 years ago? Obviously, I can't tell them that. But if you want to evolve, you're going to have to say, okay, I respect the teachings of this person, and that person, but it is time to evolve. And it's time to get the people in your family understanding that this is where you need to go. It doesn't mean that people are going to have to follow you. It doesn't mean your kids are going to follow you. No, it just means that you have to be the one to set yourself up to evolve. And that right there with the whole family and Charles Manson, that is a programming. Family is a programming. Family, yeah. And that's probably why I'm so anti-family because they're programming. I'm anti-high-level education where you don't allow the person to develop their own thought process because of peer-reviewed studies that then ridicule someone for going outside the lines. Yeah, I would say I definitely exhibit that quality. I'm against the medical holistic system because of all the false shit that they put out there. And then the doctors glorifying themselves by destroying people with surgery. And all the holistic professionals who think they're different when they're not, and they're applying antibiotics to a gut bacteria that needs to proliferate. And why people have issues with taking in probiotics and milk because they can't make it with all the stupid probiotic or stupid antibiotics. Okay? And so the holistic world has destroyed the gut bacteria in their own clients. See, it's where when you do damage to yourself and you fix yourself, I don't even know what that's called. Is that called the Ouroboros? No, because you don't fix yourself. Oh, well, maybe it is. And so when people are fermenting their own probiotics and they're giving out antibiotics, it's like, here, I just created the problem and here's the solution, but it's not really, because you're just chasing your tail. So anyone that's holistic out there who is also fermenting their own probiotics and saying, oh yeah, I got the probiotics, and they're also selling you antibiotics through different concoctions and tinctures, that right there is the medical system. That's what I disrespect. And the holistic system is just as bad as the medical system. Here, get all your antibiotics and all your different surgeries and your immunotherapies and whatever. And oh, you have a problem? Well, we have the solution for you. Come back and we'll give you more surgery on top of surgery you had already. We'll give you more therapy on top of therapy you had already. And you keep coming back and you're like, well, what the hell? It doesn't work. It's a fucking business. You got to realize that. But oh, they're family, right? Your doctor is family. Your holistic naturopathic is family. All your spiritual gurus and guides are family. Yeah, just like the Manson family. You're all destroying yourself. Your religion, everybody's hanging out together. Who's all about the medical holistic system. You're all family. The Manson family. Now you get where I'm coming from, why Manson is so important in all this. I got another book coming out of me. Oh, and I might wait a bit to write that. It might be a little bit later. I think the first book, Silicon Valley Secrets, Breaking the Love Spell, The Age of Reckoning, will be the one for a while. I've got to wait for people to pass away before I talk about stuff later. Because there's a whole stuff in me about my childhood. But that'll come later. Way later. Again, I will wait for people to pass away before, if I even know they passed away. If I don't know they passed away, then I'll just say what I gotta say when the time is right. And it'll be a few-year project. And so, yeah, I have such a connection to freaking Manson, but not because of his death, of his using himself as a prophet, as a guru, to go and brainwash disciples. That's why I'm so against discipleship. That's why I'm so against anyone using Jesus as a cure, as a way to worship, as the end-all be-all, calling me master. Oh, hell no. I don't want followers. I want people to take the information and understand it. I don't want anyone worshiping me. I don't want anyone next to me working for me, because that turns into discipleship. That's why I got rid of everybody, because it turned into a discipleship. And then they were going to be the student that was going to make the protocol better and whatever, or try to make money off it, or who knows what. And so I don't want to be anything like a Manson, but he was fucking smart. When you watch Helter Skelter or some of the interviews, Manson was freaking smart. So was Ted Kaczynski, but the educational system fucked him up. Those experiments fucked him up. But Manson came out of the prison system. He came out of School of Hard Knocks. And then he went over to Hollywood And Hollywood was going through their whole LSD stuff. So, intellectual or spiritual abuse refers to such behaviors as punishing someone for having different intellectual interests or religious beliefs from others in the family, preventing them from attending worship services, ridiculing their opinions, and the like. Some could say I'm that way, but you chose to be in my world. You always have a choice. You can always block me, delete me, don't even interact with me because you don't know where I'm coming from. And sometimes if I feel there's something going on in your world that I'm not totally agreeing with, but I'm not going to say anything because until you interact with me on my page in my group, then yeah, you're going to see me kind of unleash a little bit. And okay, but you know that's how I operate. All right. So you always have a choice. Okay. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to like any of my shit. You don't have to do anything with me. And so then if you don't like me making fun of your religion, if I do, if you don't like me saying anything about your belief systems, block, 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 block. Okay? And that really, when you think about it, when I was thinking of taking all the journalists and all the people that were talking smack about me to court, I could see the judge be like, well, did anybody come to your house? No. Who threatened you? No, this person, that person. Did the person that you're going to court with threaten you? No. So what, you went onto their page, you listened to their ridicule of you, and you got so pissed off that you think this warrants a lawsuit, but they're defaming my name. Okay, then you have to prove loss and bodily harm or whatever, intellectual injury, whatever. I mean, I could see it could go either way. Okay? And so you don't put yourself in the position of having to take somebody's abuse. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. This is where the JJ crowd is going to have to figure out how much they're going to be able to handle. See, I'm pretty harsh, right? But I also have a respect for you guys, and I don't want to break you either. Some of you are really fragile. I don't know how fragile you are, but maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I don't know. Some of you can take it. But you got to take on some kind of stress of public criticism if you're going to be an influencer in this world. You have to take on a little bit of stress of somebody countering you. And that can be stressful when you're going, but that's the thing is, and so is it my job to stress you guys out? No, but you're in my world. I don't want you turning into a worship thing. So I'm going to say something, or I don't want you to get kicked off for saying something against, certain therapies. So I'll be like, okay, here, do this, don't do this, whatever. Fine. But the stress will be your predisposed issues. I shouldn't be the one really to stress you out. But if you're promoting something that is completely antithesis of what I'm doing, then yeah, I'm going to say something and it might be a little bit harsh. So you got to have some stress. You can't always be happy, happy, joy, joy, chasing pleasure and be cured because there's no innovation. That's why I got really annoyed when I see you guys promoting the same story. Some of you have not gotten that awakening, or you're cured, or you're still under the spell of your husband, wife, or system, or under the spell of your job. And I get it, it's what pays you, but it also is going to be your hindrance, not your help. It'll be your Achilles heel because you won't be able to say anything. And you'll be under the spell of having to look cute, having the image. And that's how the system has locked people into their personas, and they die in their personas. Because if they even say anything, everybody will then force you back into line. And so I had to free myself from family, from friends, acquaintances. I had to free myself from all the different influences so I didn't get caught up in feeling like I have to hold back. And even some of you who do respect me, I hold back a little bit, but now not so much anymore. John Oakes, he is an intellectual. Okay, now I hope John Oakes listens to this. He will. He is an intellectual. He has monsters inside. He's been through some shit. He's already said he's been in the prison system. He's been through some shit. And there's certain things, yes, that he has his own personal awakenings. But let me tell you, there is a big one that's going to come up for him. I don't know when it's going to be, but it will change his whole fucking life. And it may not be anytime soon. It may be a few years down the future because he is a type A. He has so much innovation. People who are type A have so much innovation, so much kinetic energy to the brain that when they have to go through that metamorphosis, as Audrey would put it, it might take him down out of not even working. He might have to be down for weeks, months, who knows? Okay, that could be in somebody's future. And so the really smart people will have the searing headaches. Why do you think the type A's have the horrible headaches, the cognitive issues? Okay? MS, brain cancer, all the brain inflammation. That's from major kinetic energy of the brain to cause such aggressive smartness. Why do you think Albert Einstein was a little bit out of whack? And even though he was born in 1879, we know they were doing experiments back in the, way back even before the 1930s. 1800s, they were doing so many experiments. But things didn't really ramp up until like 1940s, 30s, and doing so much experimentation. But we know experiments have been done for centuries. Well, look, Imhotep, he was a genius in his time. What were they doing to him? How did he get where he, like we don't know a whole lot. There's so much we don't know. But we came to this knowledge from somewhere. Somebody told us how to do this. Somebody discovered this through a lot of trial and error, through a lot of dying and reproducing. Okay? So 1879 really is not that long ago when it comes to human experimentation, because it's happened for centuries, for thousands of years. Okay, so so some could say I'm that way as far as intellectual abuse, but you chose to be in my world. You always have a choice. When you're in a family, you also have a choice, but some people don't know that because they're dependent on the family members. And so when you're dependent on someone and then you're taking their abuse, you either make you stronger and then you leave because you don't want to get destroyed, or it will destroy you outright. And some people break from intellectual, physical abuse from their mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. And then that's why you have the domestic violence, or people end up destroying their mate, like Betty Broderick. The Betty Broderick story. She was intellectually, maybe physically abused by her husband, who had 2 advanced degrees. And she raised all the kids, dealt with all of his sexual needs, and then he dropped her and tried to take her kids away. And she went crazy, and he was using the law. Let me tell you, when you're that smart with how the system works and you have advanced degrees, you can torture people that don't know any better. And that's how people wield their godly power or ungodly power onto peoples, because they have such knowledge of the inner workings of the society, and they have the connections. They can make someone's life miserable. Oh, I know it happens. I've seen it even in people that I used to know. Well, someone's high up there in the Republican Party and is a council member or some kind of influential thing, and the kids love him because he makes all the money, and the wife who's raised the kids, who doesn't have any kind of anything, is then cast to the wayside. She's trying to figure out, oh my God. And he has the court system in his pocket. He has the judges in his pocket. That's the same thing that happened with Betty Broderick. I've seen it happen in people I know from Silicon Valley or from the Bay Area. Absolutely. That shit happens all the time. So that's why you can't be ignorant, you guys. If you become ignorant, someone's going to wield their knowledge of biotechnology, the law, the frequencies, and they will abuse you intellectually, physically, whatever. And you won't know it because you don't know any better, because you chose not to. And then when people get mad, and you're seeing people get mad all over the place, well, you got mad because you allowed yourself to get pigeonholed like that. You allowed yourself to get pigeonholed in your politics, your religion, your science, and now all that shit is now coming back on you. And since you prided yourself in being so ignorant and so tunneled, and now the body can't handle that anymore, and now you're trying to look for blame. And I mean, I don't blame you, but when you allow yourself to get abused like that, and you still sit in it and sit in it and sit in it and don't leave it, even if it means risking everything, what can you do? Just like when someone uses fentanyl, okay, they ingest fentanyl for whatever reason, and then they go to the hospital doesn't want to look at them for 7 hours, and they die there. And then the mother sues the hospital because the guy was not saved from the fentanyl and wasn't looked after, wasn't looked wasn't taking a look at it, in 7 hours. They ignored him for 7 hours. Can't talk right now. So whose fault is it? The guy that took the fentanyl or the hospital system? Well, if you're going to take drugs, not everyone's going to be able to save you from your drug habit. Not everybody's going to have the Narcan or all the different machines to bring you back because of your drug habit. I mean, there's got to be some responsibility on the victims in our society. We all like to take up for the victim and go after the predator. But the predators were victims at one point, of course. But where does the victim have responsibility at some point? How many times have they gone through that situation? And this was the 4th time where they weren't saved from that situation. That wasn't the first time. Victims aren't victims the first time. They are victimized over and over again because they never fucking learned. At what point does the victim have some responsibility to not be a fucking victim and learn from their mistakes? People don't want to hear that. They are entitled to feel like they should be saved every single time they make a stupid mistake. And that's in the parenting. That's parents bailing their kids out time and time again. And so when the system doesn't bail you out, whether it's a medical system or any other system doesn't bail you out, then you're feeling like, well, what the hell? Mommy and daddy did, so why didn't you? Well, we're not your mommy and fucking daddy. People will have a wake-up call when mommy and daddy die, and there's no one to pick up the pieces and bail them out when they fuck up. And then people get really lost in their distractions and really and that's when you stay away from everybody because, that shit's coming up for a lot of people where their parents are not going to be around anymore and their parents were the ones that bailed them out of everything. Oh, well. Helter Skelter, politics, religion, and science. Life is what scares me. Dying is easy. Charles Manson. Yeah, life is scary because look what you have to live with when you finally take off the blinders. You don't really know what's in the future. You kind of hear a little bit of a framework from the New World Order, but, people are painting that to be some dystopian. Well, yeah, when you have 7.9 billion people with their monsters wearing their ugly heads, and then they have to really be dystopian by surveillance because, yeah, why do we have all the surveillance on our phones and Facebook? Because we have people who are extremists and their monsters are at the surface, and they're pissed off at anyone that represents their abuser, whatever it is. If they think the government is their abuser, they're going to go after the government. That's why there's surveillance. I don't blame them. That they knew that once they changed the paradigm, the right wing are going to be pissed off, the left wing are going to be pissed off. Everyone's going to be pissed the fuck off. And then you have to track the extremists. You have to track behaviors. You have to track everything. Because if you don't, then society implodes. I mean, it's already kind of imploding, but right now it's a controlled implosion. But you see all the people on Facebook. Just watch. If you have a diverse amount of people that have different points of view, watch how they respond to the changes. Whether it's weather, it's government, economical, religious, political, scientific. They go nuts. And you have to track that because you don't know what people are capable of. You have to have measures of protection on your own as far as electronic protection. Because the trolls and the obsessors and people who exhibit serial killer behaviors, they may not be serial killers themselves, but they're raising serial killers themselves. You got to protect yourself from all that shit. See, it's not just, you look at the 1969 LSD generation, right? And all that, the drugs and the free love and the free sex and all that shit. And they have children who are like angry. And then it's not love anymore. Now it's hate. And then the children after that then are so angry and are so self-destructive, they turn into suicidal, homicidal people. So you see that, like I said, you see that progression of each generation deteriorating and deteriorating and deteriorating. Like, again, it's shown in the music. It's shown in the art. It's shown everywhere. And so if you want to respect and promote life, understand the intellect around death. Scientists figure out how to die, how to basically destroy you on the inside, how to die inside but still live via drugs, LSD, cannabis, until the beast inside completely wipes out your humanity and your memories. And that's what dementia is. That's what Alzheimer's is when you're living under all this medication and drugs and surgeries and immunotherapies until you disappear and the beast is out. And people's beasts are different. Okay? And I'll tell you, when you realize feed the beast, unleash the beast, like from the Scorpions, Unleash the Beast, they're telling you. Everybody Knows by Leonard Cohen, they're telling you. They knew. How did those guys know? How did the Scorpion lyrics guy know? How did the Leonard Cohen and his lyrics writer know? Because they've seen societies rise and fall. They've seen the beasts be tame in certain frequencies, and then when frequencies and reproduction is so rampant, then they see the beasts come out. And that's the Garden of Eden too. That's where all the allegory, that's where the horror stories come from. Is when people's beasts are rearing their ugly heads. It's not pretty if you are stuck with a beast who has no control over his demons or her demons. Alcohol, drugs, and rampant crazy sex and crazy images and all that stuff, the video game stuff, which you're like, okay, but yeah. I mean, there's video games, and I don't do video games, but somebody in my writing group was saying, I was saying that I'm going to insult people's religion or something. And I said, okay, I'm not going to insult people in their religion. So I was kind of annoyed a couple days ago, and then I pulled back, and I was like, okay, I'm taking a middle ground. And he was saying, well, the video games that are showing, well, that are forcing you to do crimes against humanity. Well, if you don't do a crime against humanity, they actually ridicule you. I'm like, there's a video games where you have to do crimes against humanity? Yeah, because in war, it's all, you hear about what happened with Richard Ramirez and him being shown violent images of his cousin violating aggressively and torturing Vietnamese women in the Vietnam War. And so when you're playing a war game type of video game, and some of these kids who are really unstable are playing these games. Okay, so when you're showing violent images like that, cutting, yeah. That's how the beast gets developed. And so that's why they knew that we're in the Walking Dead, and we're going to be like in a zombie apocalypse, because we have a lot of kids who are in major deficit, who have a lot of psychological issues because their grandparents were drug users. Okay? The grandparents implemented some pretty heavy-handed tactics to keep their kid in line. And so then those kids of those parents then turn to alcohol and drugs and hormonal imbalances. And then they have a child who might be autistic with its own issues. And then they're playing these video games that have violence. Well, there's where the homicidal and suicidal shit comes from. It happens generationally. As the genome breaks down generationally. Just like in your body. When your body breaks down, the ugly part of you, and you're seeing that in dementia, where the dementia patients are abusing their own children who are taking care of them. That's the ugly part of that generation of breaking down in that body. And so when you see the worst part of people who break down, who are dementia patients and Alzheimer's and abusing their caregivers, imagine what the children who are part of that line of succession, what they do and what they're going to be. And so then they're trying to get ready to go into love. But remember, you can't be pursuing love, because it turns into hate later on. That's why death is the ultimate love. But when you're breaking down to death, it's the evilness that comes out. Not everybody passes away peacefully, holding hands on a pretty bed with flowers. That's whitewashing the hordes of breaking down in our society. The horrors. Everyone's about love. Love this, love that. You see people's names on your Facebook with love attached to it. You run the way. You don't take any advice from anyone that comes from love. Because it's destruction at some point, if not already. Death is the greatest form of love. Charles Manson. Yikes. When love trumps respect, it's destruction. And so all the families out there, I don't care what kind they are, just now think of the Manson family and the free love and all of that. And now you see why the family has to break apart, because they're already turning into some form of the Manson family, but in a nice, kinder form, right? Well, not really, because you saw what happened in 1999, the rage, and now we have kids born from those kids that are going to be, I don't know, suicidal, homicidal. And that's why this virus has to work itself very quickly, and the frequencies, because we're going to see generations of children that are going to be, holy shit. And then you're not going to want to put your kids out there in public school because you don't know who they're going to school with, what's brewing in the background, what the parents were like. And that's scary. That's some scary shit. And so I got lucky. I purged all of my demons. Any anger I had towards anyone that abused me, whatever, that's their demons. I've taken care of my demons. They have their own shit to deal with. I hope for the best that they purge out their own demons. Some will not survive their own demons that manifested onto me for whatever reason. Okay? What is the intention of my childhood to make me this way? They had no idea I would figure out how to purge out the demons. So in essence, when it's all said and done, it's either she's gonna sink or swim. She's either gonna be amazing, which I don't know how that would be, because I wasn't fostered to be a fucking amazing. I don't know what I was fostered to be. If I was already against the educational system, I was already counterculture, I was already doing a bunch of shit that was like, okay. I mean, I was traveling around. I could have died from all the people that I hung out with. Okay, so either she was gonna make herself, which I don't know how that would be, or she'd break herself. Well, they probably were banking on that I was gonna fucking break myself. They were probably banking on I was gonna break myself and that my sister would maybe end up to be something. I don't know. But I knew that JJ was not, they weren't expecting me to purge out the demons and to go through this process. And so when you think about it, I don't have any issue with it. I don't care. It's the past. Okay? And so that's the thing. You guys have to purge out your demons. So that way you're not holding a vendetta against your ex-husband, your wife, your husband, ex-whatever, your parents, the government, different races that you think enslaved you or whatever. That you can finally fucking move on and be like, okay, that was that time. Maybe they weren't right. Maybe who knows what the hell. You don't know everybody's intentions. You can speculate. But now it's time to move on. And so yeah, the book that I'll be writing, part 1, is Breaking the Love Spell. And we're in the Age of Reckoning. My next book is going to be Unmasking the Beast. Because there are many beasts in our society. Many of them. And it is really scary how many of them are out there. And I'll tell you, serial killers and Charles Manson and all those people are clues. And when you read about their life and what they've dealt with, and they have their predisposed issues and whatever else, and then you look at your children and what you did to your children and what they are doing right now, watching all the crazy video games, and they have certain issues psychologically. But if you're drugged out and you're under the influence, you're not going to know. If you're stressed out as a mother, you're not going to give a shit. But those that now recognize this, and you see and you kind of know and see something in a child or in an adult, now you'll be more aware of who your kids hang out with. you'll be more aware of a lot of things. Just because a child's a child doesn't mean they're not going to turn into an adult that's going to turn into something crazy. So be aware of everyone around you. And when you see indicators of unstable behavior or vast amounts of love and gift giving, run away. All right. Bye.